No, let's get it. All right. So first and foremost, welcome to the live stream of Fetti Talk. Make sure y'all tap in with Gotti. Make sure y'all get right on the hat. Shout out to Gotti. Shout out to No Studio and Podcast and all that. So there's a lot of things to talk about today. So if you follow my Patreon page, I speak specifically on earnings and how it is so important to tap in with the earnings. The companies that are doing their public earnings calls this week. This is really like a game changer, especially in the tech world and banking world. Um, it's important to know when you have an inflationary situation where really everything is relatively flat. There's really three, maybe four different ways that you can put yourself in a position to make money, like really, really quick off stocks specifically. I'm not talking crypto, just talking stocks. One of them are IPOs, like when you just know the exact date when a brand new stock is coming. you know, Catching anything on the ground floor is always going to be your best bet. That's why for our VIP guys, we always let people know exactly what stocks are going public that following week. Make sure you guys tap into the Patreon page. Another one is based on need. Like obviously, for instance, last year when COVID hit, a lot of people were working from home, so there was a real big need for doing business over the internet, which is why Zoom popped off. So that's another reason why. That's the only reason why you would get popping. And one of the other reasons why stock is going to really boom in this day and age with inflation is based on earnings calls, letting investors know what they did during the quarter previous. And it is important because this week is going to be the biggest earnings week probably for the rest of the year. So yesterday, Tesla did their earnings report. Today, just important you guys know because you guys might own some of these stocks. Today, Apple is doing an earnings report, Microsoft, Alphabet, Visa, United States Postal Service, Starbucks, 3M, General Electric. Let me keep going because there's a lot more. Waste Management. Let's see here. Sirius XM, Canon, like the camera drone. I want to make sure I'm going through the main ones because there's so many more, but I want to make sure you guys know the main ones. Invesco, super important. What other ones? There's so many. JetBlue Airlines, even shit like Shutterstock, Northwest, Cheesecake Factory, um, Flagstar Bank. I hope you guys are taking notes on this, and if not, just catch this on the back end. But these are possible stocks you guys might want to invest into based on how their earnings did, because it could take it to another level. There's so many more. I don't want to go over all the other ones, but the main ones are there. Amazon is doing theirs in a couple of days as well. This is just the time for the big major companies that are doing their earnings report. So once again, to get the full listing of all the companies that are doing their earnings report, make sure you guys go to Nasdaq. It is lengthy, it is worthy pause, but it is a great opportunity to know what companies are going to be providing their earnings report. So I know you guys wonder about Bitcoin, how it kind of shot up by I think 12% yesterday. Bottom line, the biggest reason why it is because Amazon announced that they could possibly be taking crypto in the future. Obviously, if that does happen, that's going to be a really big push for Bitcoin. But that is the reason why cryptocurrency jumped specifically yesterday. Now, in terms of the actual stock market, the stock market is relatively flat. Actually, it's kind of down today. This is the first day in the last 5 days where the market as a whole is down, at least so far. I mean, obviously, we still got hours left in the day. The reason why the stocks are down today has nothing to do with the United States of America. It has nothing to do with inflation. Once again, our good friends over in China has had a massive sell-off of U.S. stocks, specifically stocks in technology. So one of the reasons why that is because of the regulation crackdown that China has been doing, not just for the tech industry, but also for the education industry. I'm actually going to be, my content for Patreon today is actually going to be about China and why you shouldn't fuck with any China stocks at this point in time. It's just not something that's a good investment at this point in time. But that is the reason why the market is down today. It really has nothing to do with America, inflation, or anything like that. It's just because they're doing a really big regulation crackdown on these major businesses. And like I said, I'll go into details on my Patreon page. But because of that, it's forcing a lot of Asian and Chinese investors specifically to either shit or get off the pot. Like they have to get rid of these stocks because they may not become worth anything to China, because China has their own stock market. That's important to know. So people who invest into the American stock market off rip is taking a risk, because it has nothing to do with China's market. And what China is trying to do is bring some the majority of their tech stocks and focus them on the China market, not so much the American market, because once you make it available to the American market, then you're giving access to information that China doesn't necessarily want America to have. Hopefully that makes sense. But this is one of the reasons why the crackdown is going on. This is one of the reasons why the sell off is happening due to that. And this is why the stock market is what it is today. So, what that means is actually a good thing, because that means that these companies aren't just down because they're down. They're actually down because a whole group of people who have nothing to do with us is actually selling off. Now, what that means is that it's a great opportunity to buy the dip. Great opportunity to get these stocks while they're down, because there's no tangible evidence. Tesla, for instance, just announced yesterday that it was the first quarter ever that they actually earned $1 trillion. So the stock went up like 15% overnight, but it's gone back down today simply because of this sell off. So, a company like that, where that they just made $1 trillion last year, it's a great opportunity to buy the dip. And so, any stock that you see specifically in tech that actually holds a lot of value, I would definitely recommend looking into possibly buying it if it is down today, because it's only down today for that reason that I named off. So that's that. Also, I just wanted to quickly go over, if you guys are dealing with the moratorium in terms of this renter protection for people who were like ducking payments because of COVID, just know that at the end of, I believe, August, it's over. So for real estate investors, and I hate to say this because it is almost kind of like capitalizing off other people's, failures, but for people who are into real estate, it should leave an opening for real estate if people are looking to get into that market. Which it sucks. I mean, the market's been ass as of late. It's been super higher than it should be. But when you deal with this type of situation, a lot of people are going to get evicted, which means that there are going to be a lot of opportunities where people are going to sell their house instead of renting it out, just because it is a seller's market. Which does mean that if you have a thought of maybe buying an investment property, maybe a multi-unit, or duplex, something like that, something where you can actually get dividends, it is something to possibly look into. Like I said, I hate really talking like this, because at the end of the day, it's at the behest of people who are actually going to be kicked out of their crib. But if you're thinking from an investment standpoint, this is just kind of how it goes. So that's that. I believe that might be it. I believe that might be it. Um, CDC also said that they're going to be reversing the indoor mask policy, saying that even fully vaccinated people should wear them indoors in COVID hotspots. I don't know exactly what this is going to mean with certain companies, but if this Delta situation continues to become an issue, then we are going to come across, once again, a lot of the companies that were falling off last year, falling off again today. Not today, but currently. And once again, that's not a bad thing from an investment standpoint, because if you invest in some of these things, like pretty much everything I invested into last year, I've at least doubled up off of. At least doubled up off of. So, once again, it is an opportunity. Let's just hope it's not that, because people are dying from this shit, and you don't want to make money at the behest of people dying. But just know, if this continues to be an issue, then there will be opportunities to invest into companies that might lose a lot of business due to COVID. So let's just say that. So that's pretty much it, y'all. I don't really have too much else. I kind of thought that the earnings was going to take a little bit more time than normal, but I can't read them all over to you guys. You just have to do your research on it. But just know, this is one of the biggest money making opportunities when it comes to stocks specifically, is earnings calls, earnings calls, earnings calls. So once again, check that out, NASDAQ.com. But that's pretty much it, guys. As normal, we are going to be back with our live streaming on Thursday. We will also have our Patreon content that will be available tomorrow, probably actually tonight. But once again, we're going to get into specifics in terms of why you should not fuck with China. What the information I gave is the gist of it, but there's a lot more details to it, and there's a lot of companies American companies or companies that work and operate in America that are affected by it. So once again, I appreciate all the support. I'll have this available for people to see in a little bit, but past that, y'all have a great rest of the day.